Last year is supposed to be a horrible year for the stock market. Back in March 2020, we all witnessed how the stock market dipped by 30%. Most people were afraid to invest because no one was confident about tomorrow. The crisis that was in front of us was unlike anything else. It wasn't a mortgage crisis like in 2008 or a bubble like in the 2000s. It was something that we couldn't see, and yet it just stopped the world economy overnight. We had no idea when it will be over, or at least when life would get back to normal. But it seems like it's never going back to normal. We're just going to have the new normal. But what we know for sure is that the market did not crash. At least the Fed did not allow it so, like it always does. The Fed got out its printing machines and started printing dollars like there is no tomorrow. But it was unlike any other case. The Fed printed unbelievable amount of money to keep the economy running, even though most people were stuck at home. So the stock market instantly jumped back to its pre-crisis level, and the S&P 500 was up by 18%. That is incredibly high. 18% for the S&P 500 means it's one of the best years it ever had. But 18% compared to other stocks is almost nothing. Apple was up by almost 80%. Amazon rose by 73%, and some stocks like Tesla rose by a few 100%. Anyone had the opportunity to double their savings in a single year. It took you 10 years to save that much money, and in less than a year you could have doubled it. Some people did that, but others missed the opportunity. However, that doesn't mean there aren't going to be more opportunities this year. As far as I see it, the stock market is going to keep rising this year as well. Another stimulus bill is on the horizon, and the Fed doesn't seem like it will stop printing money anytime soon, which could increase the inflation rate. But that's something we'll discuss in another video. Here in this video, I'm going to share with you 3 stocks that I believe will do great this year. I've personally invested in them, so if you're ready, give this video a thumbs up because that's what the algorithm wants you to do. And let's get right into it. If you follow my stock suggestions on Patreon, you know that I invested in Disney last year in September. Back when the stock was struggling since the pandemic forced its theme parks to shut down and put at risk its entire business model, I decided to invest in it because Disney is a unique company. It owns the rights for all of your favorite fictional characters, but it wasn't taking the best advantage out of them. So, when Disney replaced its CEO, the new CEO decided to take the company in a completely different direction. Instead of focusing on theme parks and material assets, it shifted its focus to online streaming services to compete with Netflix. Last September, it had around 33 million paid subscribers, which is a lot. According to the arguments I brought forward, Disney has everything it needed to increase that number by at least 10 times. We all grew up watching Pixar, Mickey Mouse, Marvel Heroes, and Star Wars, and Disney owns all the rights for these fictional characters. All that is left for it to do is to take full advantage out of them, which it started doing last year. Guess how many paid subscribers it has now? Over 95 million. That's almost 100 million subscribers. And since the pandemic is not over yet, Disney is going to pour more resources into its Disney Plus. It's entirely possible that Disney is going to have around the same number of paid subscribers as Netflix has today in a year or so, which is around 350 million, which is why I think Disney stock will keep rising this year as well. I know that Disney is not as exciting as Tesla, for example, but it's a safe investment that has a huge potential to grow. If it doubles its number of paid subscribers within this year, it's entirely possible that its stock price would rise by at least 50%. And that's not speculation, it's based on facts and numbers. The second stock that I believe is going to have a great year is Airbnb. If you are one of our Patreons, you know that I have invested in Airbnb recently. Shortly after moving to San Francisco in October 2007, roommates and former schoolmates Brian Chesky and Joy Gabby came up with the idea of putting an air mattress in their living room and turning it into bed and breakfast. Yeah, its original name was Air Bed and Breakfast. Thank God they changed the name, otherwise this idea wouldn't have worked, I guess. That simple idea has now put upside down the entire tourism industry. No one thought it's going to work because strangers will never stay in each other's homes. But it turns out that's absolutely wrong. Why waste a fortune on hotels when you can stay in a similarly good place for a fraction of a price? The idea was save money when traveling, make money when hosting, and share culture. It doesn't get much simpler than that. Airbnb has become a verb like we use Google when we say search for something online, or Uber instead of a cab or a taxi. That doesn't mean it's going to be far more successful, but it certainly puts Airbnb in a good spot and illustrates the power of its brand. Airbnb, like other social media companies, benefits from the network effect. The bigger the network, the more difficult it gets to compete with it. For example, you're using Facebook because all of your friends are there. The moment they leave, Facebook serves little purpose. The same goes for Airbnb. If all homeowners are listing their homes in Airbnb, most people will use Airbnb by default, which has already happened. But besides just offering a place to stay, Airbnb is also focused on experiences, which are already a huge part of Airbnb but could be even bigger. It could launch services such as purchasing properties, getting a mortgage, and many more. But that's going to be in the future, I guess. Airbnb has the opportunity to become a tech giant like Google or Amazon, and in the years to come, it has to prove it. The third stock that I believe has great potential is Fiverr. I'm not a big fan of Fiverr, but recently I have started using it more and more. From February 2020 to February 2021, the Fiverr stock grew by almost 1,000%. Yes, you heard that right, by 1,000%. Unfortunately, I did not invest in it back then because I didn't see that coming. Everyone can complain about the pandemic, but not Fiverr because it was the best year in the company's history. Even Tesla didn't grow by that much. Big businesses might not see the benefits of Fiverr because they have all the money they need to hire the best talent. However, when it comes to small businesses, hiring even a single person is super difficult. Making sure they get paid is way more difficult than it seems, and Fiverr makes that process a lot easier. First of all, no one gets paid unless they get the job done. Secondly, you're not hiring anyone full-time. And thirdly, you can hire people across the world where labor cost is a lot cheaper than in your country. The stock price might not grow by additional 1,000% this year or even the next year, but that doesn't mean it has no room to grow further. In January 2020, Fiverr had 2.4 million buyers and a little over 800,000 sellers. I couldn't find the data for 2020, but the pandemic has clearly made Fiverr much more popular. Not only that, its total revenue has been growing year after year to $400 million by 2019, the average bill has increased from $64 to $170 by the end of 2019. Let's face it, this pandemic is not going anywhere anytime soon. Yeah, the vaccine is going to make it a lot easier, but the virus is going to mutate and keep circulating among us. This means that the number of freelancers will just keep growing. The number of people who decide to work from home will just keep rising. Based on the current circumstances, Fiverr will probably keep growing this year and in the next few years as well. Its biggest obstacle is probably high commission fees, since competitors can come in and drag some of its customers with lower commissions. However, as Fiverr grows, it starts taking advantage out of the network effect. It could become the place for freelancers. And if that happens, its valuation could very well grow by a few times. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm, and if you're new around here, then subscribe and turn on your notifications. We're trying our best to make great videos for you and hopefully help you achieve your financial goals. Thanks for watching, and until next time.